Hello there and welcome back to the channel. As promised in the last video, we are continuing work on that blue hatchback back there. Don't look forward to it, but it needs to happen. I'm sick of just staring at that thing. And before some of you might ask, yes, there is a good reason for why Dexter is taken apart. I'll get around to that later in the video. Now, last weekend I spent a good 2 solid days grinding the entire outer surface of this front quarter down to bare metal, and then I applied some of this Worth zinc spray, because not only is that a self-etching primer, it is also designed to help repair and protect galvanized surfaces. And for those of you that did not know, these things chassis are galvanized, which I guess is great and all for preventing major rust and very serious cancer. But as soon as the paint fails in one spot, surface rust spreads like that, and that's basically the problem that I have on the engine bay of this thing. Now, I did spend a day trying to clean all of that up, had a lot of it down to bare metal, ran out of time, had to cover all of it back up again, so now I'm back to square one. Not fun. I tried paint stripper, paint's so thick it just doesn't really work. The best results I've had is basically just a big grinder and a big wire wheel. But before I get to work, let me get this Land Cruiser out of the way so I actually have some space to breathe. Now, as you can see, as I mentioned, I've already started work on this thing. For those of you that are not aware, I had some stitch welding done a while ago. Didn't document it, it just sort of happened. Now, I tried the paint stripper route, was not successful in it, abandoning that. So far it seems, as I said, the best is going to be using the wire wheel. So I'm resorting to man hours and elbow grease. As you can see, here's a little bit where I started this morning just before I recorded. For some reason, don't know why, but I'm going to continue work there, and I'm going to try and do it in patches. So I'm going to do this chassis rail, get it bare, seal it up. Then I'm going to do this, get it bare, seal it up, etc, 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 until I'm done with the entire engine bay. This I'm not too worried about. It's not very rusty. I just need to make sure that these spots where the stitch welding happened don't rust ever at all. Make sure they're sealed, make sure all the rust that's already there is neutralized, dead, and covered up. Now I guess it's time I stop yapping and start working, hey. I need to take a break from that thing. So anyways, why is Dexter taken apart? More specifically, why is the front of Dexter taken apart and on the load bin? Well, that is because I'm trying my hand at designing my own bull bar. As I've said many times before, Dexter here is a budget build, so an ARB is out of the question. Irrespective of the fact that I don't have money for an ARB, I also don't have money for a Thai boss, which is the other bull bar I can get. They're actually manufactured in South Africa, if you can't tell by the Afrikaans name. So the plan is I just sort of do my own. There are 6 mounting holes up front, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then there are the 6 on the chassis rails, 6 or 4 on the chassis rails. Either way, I'm only going to be utilizing these 6 up front for now, and then once I have the design of the actual bar finalized, I'm going to work on incorporating those bottom mounts for snatch recovery. Because yes, you can build a perfectly strong bull bar for snatch recovery while only using those front 6 mounting holes. I mean, they're still on the chassis. It's just better to distribute the load throughout the rest of the chassis, as well as in different directions, when you're really applying those forces to a car in a recovery situation. Gosh, that was a mouthful, just breathe for a second. So the current operating plan, what is that? Well, I've got 6 bolts I can use up front. I plan on using all 6 of them. So I need to measure and draw up a plate that will tie into all 6 of these bolts that will work as a foundation to build the rest of the bar off. Once I've got that finalized, I can design and get cut standoffs that go up and out and up, so that the top bar of the bull bar will sit right. I want to get my hand in between the grill and the bar, so there'll be about 4 fingers gap between the grill and the bar. So that's going to be right underneath the bar, and then there's 50mm below that going to be a secondary bar, sort of in the same style as the Smittybolt bars, only my tubing is going to be a bit thinner. Now the standoff brackets where the tube will attach to are also going to have incorporated snatch recovery points. That's the plan at least. Those are going to be made out of 10mm steel. Heavy duty, super solid, super hard. Don't want stuff to break, bend, flex or anything, and all of that's going to be gusseted into the main foundational plate. I know, I'm terrible at explaining things, but I promise you it's in here. That's what matters, and I'll get around to the drawings and measuring and some or other time. I just need to get some stuff done to this thing so I can get a video out today, because this video, as you are watching it, I don't have a watch on, hey? I think it's about 3 p.m. This video needs to be up at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. ish. Anyways, on that note, if you've been enjoying the video thus far, which I mean it has been a very yappy video and it's going to continue being a very yappy video. Either way, if you've been enjoying it, please do leave a like, leave a comment, tell me something, ask me something, what do you want to see more of, what do you want to see less of, etc. And if you want to keep up to date with uploads, please do consider subscribing to the channel and hitting bell notifications. That would really be very great. But yeah, back to this thing. Obviously I need to get the bracket sorted. Once the bracketry is sorted, I can start getting, or rather I can start working on getting the bends made for the tube that I need to put all of this together. And once all of that is done, I can get to work on secondary brackets such as spotlight mounts, etc, 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 snatch mounts, extra reinforcement. I just need to get the design underway for now. The way I have it pictured in my head right now, at least, it's going to be somewhere between the trail gear style bull bars and the Smittybolt style bull bars. It's not going to be either or, but I'm taking inspiration from both of those because those are sort of my favorite tubular bull bars that have ever been made for these vehicles. So yeah, for this vehicle at least, you're going to want to stay tuned because it's not only the bull bar. I've been cooking up something else that's going to be very cool, very big, and it's going to be dope, so you're going to want to stay tuned for that. And before I forget, we've got some unfinished business from the last video. Those of you that watched the last video, this thing did not want to start because the battery was dead. D-E-D, dead, very dead, super not living. Since then the battery has been charged, so let me reconnect the old battery terminal and try again, I guess. Make sure she's in neutral. And almost. Let me get a foot in there. These jeans are so terrible. Come on, don't die. Oh yeah, these plugs are definitely fouled because before it's been sitting for like, I think 2 months now. It basically just got moved backwards, forwards as it got into the way and had to be moved out of the way. It's currently stuck in the backyard because of our renovations going on, but I am at least now one step closer to getting this thing back and running again. For those of you that are not in the know, stuff went wrong. First of all, when I rebuilt the diff, I did everything except for the differential breather. That ended up being clogged and it blew out the hub seal on the one wheel bearing, and in the case of these vehicles the wheel bearing is the hub seal, so I had to get the brand new wheel bearing replaced again, but that's been sorted. The side shaft is in the garage somewhere waiting to be put back in. Also, the pinion spacer failed. It was never collapsed properly. These use a collapsible spacer to get the pinion shimming correct. That was incorrect. That failed. My pinion became loose and that ruined my brand new crown wheel and pinion. So I got a new crown wheel and pinion installed, and it also hurt my spider gear carrier quite a bit. Lots of heat was generated, lots of metal shavings, no chunks luckily, but it was rather gnarly. Luckily though, yesterday I got my differential back from being repaired. This thing should be hunky-dory right now. Here you can see that the lashing has been set correctly, and here, don't know how well it shows up on camera, but you can see how the pinion was chewing at that carrier. Look at that. And yes, that made a hell of a noise. Pity I never could figure out what the noise was before I removed the center portion. Don't fucking fall. Gosh. Clean this plate place up. Anyways, just pop that there. Just exhaust. Oh yeah, I needed that right now. Sick of listening to fucking four wires. Honestly, I don't give a damn what your preference is. If I had 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder, V6, straight 6, rotary, etc, 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 flipping V4s, reciprocating engines, boxer engines, what's that thing that they put in radial engines, etc, etc, etc. Nothing hits in your soul quite like a V8. Yeah. Yeah, but it's just a one, just a Lexus V8. And it's literally just one of the best V8 platforms ever devised. I will die on that hill. Boy, that wasn't fun at all. That side, that wheel well, that singular wheel well, and a bit of the stuff on there where I found some rust is down to metal. The parts that matter. The rust has been found. I got the materials to start cleaning and neutralizing the rust. I'm done with the power tools for today. So I'm going to Scotch-Brite, sand, and what's the stuff? Scotch-Brite, sand, and neutralize the rust. Then wait for the rust neutralizer to dry down, and then I can paint all of that. All of that's happening tonight, most likely after dark, because it's going to take a minute. This was a full day's of work. A full day of work! I killed the grinder. The baby grinder is dead. Nonetheless, irrespective of how little fun it was, I've made progress. Now it's just that whole side to do tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, or rather tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, because I've got other stuff to do as well. I've got to prep that for paint, but I'm not taking that down to metal, and I've got to prep the inside of this front core structure. In case you find yourself wondering why the hell I would put myself through all this torture, well, the paint on this thing is like 2 millimeters, but somewhere between 1 and 2 millimeters thick. It's rather robust, and there's a lot of rust, especially on a few key places on the firewall and where the stitch welding happened. Lots of surface rust on the stitch welding area, and some borderline subdermal rust. Not quite cancer just yet. I caught it just in time on some of the places on the firewall. That's because this thing had a big rubber heat insulating mat on the engine bay side, and gunk would get trapped behind it and cause rust. But luckily I found everything. Now I can neutralize it, seal it up, and not put the mat back, and call it weight savings. And with all of that being said, I'm going to continue the boring work off camera as I have been doing for the entire day now, because you don't want to watch me scrub metal. And I'm going to call today's video at that. I do hope you enjoyed the video. Again, it was a very yappy one. I mean, I make a lot of yappy videos, but this one was especially talkative. Please do like, leave a comment, and if you enjoyed the video and want to stay up to date with whatever the hell happens to this thing and that thing and my other things, do subscribe to the channel and turn on bell notifications. And I will see you in the next video. Cheers.